Hi, welcome everyone to another episode of Let's Talk Special Economic Zones. I'm your host Ainsley Brown, and in today's topic, I want to talk to you about two types of postponement. One is physical, in terms of physical goods, and the other one is in terms of fiscal incentives and in relation to zones. And the two of them are very much connected and relate to each other and operate together. However, it's important to get an understanding of the two. Firstly, when we speak about zones, we're talking about, and it doesn't matter the nomenclature, what you want to call them, free zones, free trade zones, special economic zones, foreign trade zones. It's the same thing. It is a geographic area that special rules apply to in terms of trade, in terms of investment. Certain fiscal incentives are offered, or perhaps financial incentives. Non-fiscal incentives are associated with that geographic space that you must apply to operate from. Now, when it comes to postponement, and what exactly is postponement? Postponement just means that something is postponed, it's paused, right? Very much a logistics term when goods are brought in and held, perhaps in a warehouse for a little bit, and then they're paused there, and then they're moved on. So when it comes to zones, this is a major activity that takes place in zones. Goods are brought in from a particular country. Value may or may not be added, and could be minimal value in terms of packaging, repackaging, relabeling, etc. Things like that. Cross-docking, to use another logistics term. Minimal value is added, but nevertheless important value is added to goods. Not enough to transform it per se into a new item or new good or new product, bringing in rules of origin. So it doesn't cross that threshold, right? However, when the goods are brought in, again, as I said, they're postponed, they're paused. So that's a major activity that takes place in zones. Oftentimes, one of the fiscal incentives that's associated with a zone is the postponement of customs duties. The customs duties are paused. Under normal circumstances, when you import something into a country, there may be customs duties, depending on if there is a preferential treaty, trade agreement. But the general rule is that items attract duty. That's a general rule. A trade agreement then is an exception to that rule, and the rate at which that operates, depending on the trade agreement and what that says, or if people are or if countries, I should say, are members of the WTO, that's done on what they call most favored nation status. So whichever country you have given, the most favorable rate, except for those that you have trade agreements that you must grant all other WTO members. So if you've given country X 5% on that particular item, everybody that's a member of the WTO must get 5%, except for those that are outside of or within your trade agreement, which may be at 0 or 2% or something like that, right? At a lower rate, a preferential rate. So having postponed those goods and given it also the fiscal incentive within the zone, so there's that physical postponement. The goods have been paused inside the warehouse, and then they're also been paused in terms of fiscal incentive associated with it. That is the non-applicability of or the pausing. I shouldn't say non-applicability, because that's an important nuanced effect that we have to be careful of. So it's not that duties don't apply, they're paused for now until the next decision is taken. If this next decision is to bring the goods into the domestic territory, then that's when the duties apply to those goods. And then the customs authorities will figure out, from which country did this come, and if there's a preferential agreement, then that rate of duty applies. If there isn't any, then there's the MFN, that's most favored nation rate, would apply to it. However, there's great utility in this for businesses because it saves money. You've brought the goods in, and duties are not applicable immediately, so there's a cost savings element there until the next time. Of course, you're paying for a service, or it could be your own warehouse, but you're paying for a service. Let's say you offer a third-party logistics provider. You bring them in to provide that service for you. Say you are a hotel, or if you are a auto parts dealer, or you run a dealership, and they postpone the towels and the soaps and all of that, so it's sitting there in a warehouse not attracting duties, right? Then once it's released to you, or as part of that process, that's when the duties apply. Or if it's car parts, for example, it sits there in the warehouse. Of course, you're paying the third-party logistics provider their whatever is agreed in your contract. Then you shift it into the domestic, then the duties apply at that time. So it's how you see how that fiscal postponement and physical postponement work together in a zone. So if you like this episode, please like, share, subscribe. If you want to see me do a particular topic, just leave me a comment down below and I'll get right back to you. Bye for now.